I'll now zoom to Geelong in Victoria to Mick Leahy, an academic, a friend and a reviewer, and an old mate of mine. Hello, Michael.
Thanks, Bond. Look, my time in Werribee was the same as Jack Stewart's, so our time with Mick Bowden overlapped by that year, 1965, in the middle of which I went off to Rome. But we've kept in contact, thank God, sporadically since then. And unlike me, Mick left the seminary in order to learn some theology. I went to Rome to learn mine, and leave other people to judge who chose the better course. I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land that I'm on, the Wadawurrung people, but I'd also like to pay my respects to the Arrernte people, particularly those elders who contributed so much to Mike's book. It's not only Mike who owes them a debt, it's the readers of the book as well. And hopefully there will be many more Australians who will be led into the Altiera, the life world, the social imaginary of the Arrernte people and other Aboriginal peoples in this country as a result of Mick's example. I'm also a devotee of Charles Taylor. The concept of a social imaginary, I think, is a very powerful one. It both sets the limits to what we can think and believe and the behaviours we base upon those things, but it also acknowledged that if it's healthily understood, it also acknowledges that those boundaries are porous and can be transcended. Now, I think the great contribution that Mick has made with his research is to be willing to transcend the boundaries of the social imaginary that he was brought up in, that the Christian church, particularly the Catholic Church in Australia, was brought up in and bound by, in order to enter into what I described as a genuine communion with the holders of Altiera. You can dip into other life worlds, other theoretical systems in an academic way by simply defining the concepts and seeing how they hang together. But you can't understand what they mean to other people unless you're prepared to enter into communion with those who hold them, those who govern their lives based on them. Now, to my mind, the history of colonisation in this country and elsewhere has been a history of the failure of the colonisers to enter into the Altiera of the peoples with whom they came in contact. Now, it is a difficult thing to do. It means that you've got to constantly question the boundaries of your life world. You've got to think beyond the square. That's what. But what you were doing, and this is the value of Taylor's concept, it seems to me, in doing that, is that you are redefining the boundaries of the social imaginary. You are using your imagination as it has to be used in any fertile field of academic endeavour to transcend the limits of the existing imaginaries. And Mick has blazed a trail here, so it seems to me, along which he encountered a number of blockages from institutional religions, particularly a certain bishop. On the other side of that coin, however, he does pay tribute, and I join him in paying tribute to the efforts of some of those whom he did encounter on that journey, who were missionaries of the Sacred Heart or from other orders, who had made similar efforts to his own to enter into communion with the Altiera of the oldest living civilization on the globe. Now, if Mike Bowden needed or was seeking a monument, and I'm sure he wasn't, what more worthy monument could he have than to have been able to enter into a communion with the Altiera of the oldest living civilization on Earth? Now, I think that I've been part of the reconciliation movement in this country since, well, my first efforts at it go back to when I was at school, I think. But the reconciliation movement, I think, is gradually coming to the recognition that you can't, that every policy that is being dreamed up as a means of harmonising the relationships, integrating Indigenous Australia with colonial Australia, has turned out in the long run to be another effort on the part of those in power, the white fellas, to impose some other framework from their social imaginary onto black fellas. And none of them have worked. And so if we are ultimately to succeed in the reconciliation movement in this country, we have to follow the trail that Mike and others like him have blazed in entering into a communion with the Altiera of the Aboriginal peoples of this country. It's been a privilege to walk behind Mick in his journey on this PhD thesis and its conversion to a book. I still remember some of the bruises he left me with as I left for Rome in 1965 from the football field. Great memories, both of them.